Hello, welcome back to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel, and in today's episode we're going to continue our 1979 Ford all-model brochure for Australia with the Ford of Australia's recreational vehicles. Hello and welcome back. Now if you're new to Quartzlight, we're a car brochure channel here on YouTube, looking at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s and sometimes beyond that as well. So if you're interested in cars, car brochures, looking back at cars gone by, really the channel's all about memories, then please do subscribe. It really is completely free and certainly will help you find the episodes you want to see and also helps us build the channel. Now, today's episode was first aired on a Friday. We called the Friday episodes Ford Friday episodes because we look at a Ford from around the world each and every Friday. Today is no exception. We've been going through a 1979 Ford all-model catalogue for Australia. We've been through pretty much all the range now, and if you missed any of those episodes, don't worry, I'll put a link at the end of this episode. So what we're looking at today, well, the very unusual Australian recreational vehicles from Ford, and they are something a little bit special, so let's put that on the board and have a look at those now. So first of all, if you've not seen this brochure already, it's the 1979, in fact the August 1979 Ford Cars catalogue. As you can see, big bold letters there, Ford Cars. At the bottom it says the Ford Sales Company of Australia Limited. So like the UK, Australia produced these all-model Ford catalogues as well. So let's just move to the page we're looking at today. Last week we ended looking at the Ford Fairlane and what a marvellous car that was. So this week it's the Ford recreational vehicles, and certainly hats off to whoever created this particular image. It really does look fantastic. Now it says here, Ford recreational and light commercial vehicles. I was going to do all this in one show, but really there are so many we really would be pushed for time, so I'm going to split it actually and look more at sort of like the leisure side of these commercial vehicles, the recreational side, the one your average person might have bought for, your everyday vehicle, but something a little bit different. Maybe you as a surfer, I don't know, but they call these range of vehicles the Sundowner range, and we've got the Escort, the Falcon and even the Transit Sundowner. Now there is also light commercial vehicles as well, the more business type of vans and pickups, but we'll look at that next week I think, so that will give us enough time to have a good look at these Sundowner vehicles. And certainly if we zoom in on this main image, we can see at the top there the Transit, which is an unusual one to see as being sort of like a fun vehicle. Certainly in the UK these were really mainly work vehicles, but here it's been seen as more this recreational side of transportation. Below it we've got a Ford Falcon, the new updated Ford Falcon, and amazing graphics. I think more 70s really than anything really, not late 70s. Even the UK had lots of sort of weird special editions that had these graphics and things on the side, but this is really pushing it. And then moving down, the Escort van is there as well, again with that similar sort of very much 70s vibe with these bright decals. So anyway, we should open the page, have a look at these three different Sundowner models and possibly compare it with those from the previous year. So as we turn the page, kind of like surprisingly, we're not greeted by the Escort, we're greeted by the Falcon. These models in the Sundowner range just seem to be laid out in no particular order really. We continue with these fantastic sort of images, and we'll certainly zoom in on this. Like I say, certainly hats off to whoever created these images, they are really rather amazing. So the Falcon, with sort of what we would say in the UK, they sort of like what has a little bit of an image of our Ford Granadas back then, although in reality not much more than front headlights were actually Granada, but certainly the design of the Falcon was certainly inspired by the Granada, that's for sure. But quite an amazing looking van overall. We'll treat it by reading this little bit of an introduction. We'll come back to this image here where it's talking about the features of the Sundowner. We'll look at the images and then we'll look at the previous year's model, because the Falcon changed from 78 to 79, just to have a look at what it used to look like. So first of all, apologies, it does kind of like fall on the crease, but it starts by introducing this model as you're at home on the road with the great styling and comfort of the Falcon Sundowner van. Take a look at the engineering advances and comprehensive feature levels of today's cruising van from Ford. Long range, quartz halogen driving lights, reclining bucket seats with striped wool blend seat facings, comprehensive instrumentation including tacho, oil and temperature gauges, and convenient lift tailgate, plus advanced automotive technology. Features such as energy absorbing bumpers and electronic speedometer all help make Ford Falcon Sundowner van one of the best equipped vans around. So we may as well start with the image that falls directly below that group of text, and we're certainly seeing here it's as interesting on the inside as the outside. These really nice looking seats, and this particular model's in automatic, and we'll see how they are specs, but certainly an interesting. You won't think these as being commercial vehicles, is what I'm saying. It is very much like a fun car, really, more than a van, and certainly it's quite a unique take on these sort of Ford vans and making them into these interesting leisure vehicles. And like I say, I really like the inside of these vans as much as anything. They look more interesting than actually the saloon versions of them. Let's move down though, let's see how they're spec'd. Okay, so it does say that on that particular image that that is an optional 3-speed T-bar automatic that model's been equipped with, and there's also an AM/FM multiplex radio stereo cassette tape player that's also an option. A look at the dash, and it's sort of like a better angle. And then tells us Ford Falcon Sundowner standard equipment highlights. As for Falcon GL van, but with these different and upgraded features. So we get a 4.1 litre cross-flow 6-cylinder engine, 4-speed manual floor shift transmission. We get steel belt radial ply tyres, slotted steel road wheels with chrome trim rings. We get sports instrumentation including tachometer, fuel gauge, temperature, oil pressure gauges, voltmeter, trip meter and low fuel warning lamp. Digital clock with day and month display. Striped wool blend cloth seat facings. Cut pile carpet on passenger compartment floor. Interior lamp with twin side spotlights to illuminate load area. Load area courtesy panel with integral courtesy lights and ashtrays. Interior handle on tailgate front spoiler, rear roof spoiler, long distance driving lights, distinctive exterior stripes and Sundowner decals, 1000 weight suspension in lieu of 1500 weight suspension, and with these Falcon GL van feature deleted, so body side protection mouldings deleted, van side glass delete. So they've gone for a sort of like, well, certainly when you look at the suspension, they've gone for a lighter specification than what would have been the standard van. So there it is here, drawn rather than an actual picture. There seems to be an actual picture itself of these vans. It's almost like going back to the sort of 50s and 60s when the brochures were all drawn instead of actual pictures. Does look good in yellow, I do like that. Unusual little roof spoiler, isn't it, right at the back there. Certainly it's going for a certain vibe, but you didn't have to have it in yellow. This is a little bit of a side image, what looks like a silver version, but it's the graphics that really shout out. Now previously, and by previously I mean the brochure from 1 year previous to this, we was using the earlier Falcon for these vans. You can see the same sort of lineup of Falcon Transit and Escort Sundowners. We can certainly see we're using the previous model Falcon there, so the Falcon has just been updated, but certainly a similar sort of idea as previously. Graphics look like they've changed there as well. Nice to see an actual picture of these vans now though. And then when we turn to the actual page for the Ford Falcon Sundowner van in 1978, we can see we're also using a yellow example here as well. Different graphics though, and of course in reality a completely different van altogether, but you can see how they updated the graphics and changed the graphics. They didn't have to do that. We can see at the back that little Sundowner badge at the back there as well. But it's nice to see an actual image, but like I say, they decided to just go for a drawing a year later. Same sort of idea mechanically though. They've gone for a 4.1 litre cross-flow 6-cylinder engine and 4-speed manual floor shift transmission in 78. So back to 79, and like I say, as you can see, no particular order. It throws up the Transit next and then the Escort, so we'll take it as it comes and have a look at the Ford Transit Sundowner van. The Sundowner Super Van it calls it. So for the Sundowner Transit vans, they're also using a 4.1 litre cross-flow 6-cylinder engine, 3-speed manual floor shift transmission, power assisted dual line braking system, front disc brakes, shows you the steel belt radial ply tyres, the AM push button radio, cigarette lighter, electric clock, speedometer, odometer with trip meter, 2-speed windscreen wipers with electric washers, 2-speed heater demister, face level power assisted ventilation, steering column control stalk for turn lane signals, high, low, beam headlight flasher horn, windscreen wiper washer, parking and headlights, front passenger side glove box, anti-glare interior rear view mirror, low line swing lock left and right hand exterior rear view mirrors, rectangular quartz halogen headlights, outboard inertia reel front seat belts, front bucket seats adjustable for reach and rake with swivel bases, houndstooth cloth seat upholstery, carpet in front and rear compartments, full length insulated headlining, interior release on side load door, interior courtesy light operated by front doors, rear compartment light with switch on instrument panel, PVC trim panels on side and rear doors, special Sundowner exterior treatment including steel spoked wheels, body side stripe, Sundowner decals, black front full width bumper and rear quarter bumpers with rubber inserts, and matte black grille and rocker panels. So here we go with the Transit. They are using an actual picture, which kind of like makes me think actually for the Falcon maybe there was none available because it would have been a very new model at this time. Anyway, so the Transit, so unusual specifications, unusual mirrors on the sides there, and then this unusual striping treatment. Not quite as bold graphics as the Escort Sundowner and Falcon Sundowner, but still very interesting model. We've got these white steel wheels on there. Of course, we've got that 4.1 litre engine there, which certainly makes for an interesting Transit. I guess this is your Ford Transit Sundowner buyer at the time, but certainly demonstrating the unusual bucket seats and the abilities to swivel around. Back to the 78 brochure. Doesn't look like there's been any change for the Ford Transit Sundowner vans at this time. Same van image, same graphics, same guy, same camel really, so not much difference there. So let's go back to the 79 brochure. So that just leaves one model, the Escort Sundowner van. So let's have a look at this one. And apologies once again, it is falling on the crease a little bit there, but we can see it says Ford Escort Sundowner van, the freewheeling van from Ford. So the standard equipment levels, it says including these features which are standard on the Escort GL van. So we're using a 1.6 cross-floor 4-cylinder engine, 4-speed manual floor shift transmission, power assisted front disc brakes, centre console, AM push button radio, cigarette lighter illuminated, outboard inertia reel seat belts, loop power carpet in passenger compartments, prismatic day-night interior rear view mirror, styled right and left hand exterior rear view mirror, and ventilation system with individual directional ball vents and under dash vents. It continues by telling us we also get 2-speed heater demister with illuminated slide controls, 2-speed windscreen wipers with 2 jet washers, steering column control stalks for turn lane change signals, high-low beam, headlight flasher, horn button, flick wipe, windscreen wiper washer, parking and headlights, driver's side trinket tray, front passenger side parcel shelf, hazard flashers, headlining in load area, quartz halogen headlights. And kind of like these features that wouldn't be standard on the Escort GL but is on the Sundowner. Tells us about the steel belt radial ply tyres, chrome wheel trim rings, long range driving lights, comprehensive instrumentation including tachometer, fuel and temperature gauges, odometer, speedometer and trip meter, load area fluorescent roof light, load area front extension located behind bucket seats, front bucket seats with forward folding mechanism, striped cloth seat facing on front bucket seats. It tells us we've got a bubble window in rear compartments, black vinyl cover for spare wheel located in rear load compartment, distinctive exterior striping and decal, black finished bumperettes with front bumper overriders, soft feel steering wheel, blackout paint treatment, interior rear door release handle and a loop pile carpet in the load area. And there is our image of the 79 Escort Sundowner. I kind of like, maybe because I'm always thinking about the UK Escorts, I do find this is possibly the most interesting one in some ways. I really like the graphics on this black example. Very unusual to put the round window in the back there. Beauty rings on the wheels, driving lights. It does really look the part. Let's just compare it with the 78 version. And here is the 78 Ford Escort Sundowner van. Still calling it the freewheeling van from Ford. They've actually gone from the same graphics in a different colour, so it's quite interesting to see it in a red rather than a black. I guess if we put them together we can kind of like see that same, looks like they just changed the decal colour to depending on the body colour by the looks of it at least, but certainly the same idea. Everything looks pretty much the same apart from the front lights. They've changed from having a round front headlight to a square light, and that's something they did in the UK as well, of course. They started putting the square headlights on the Escort for more and more models. Originally it was just like the top model, and then they even put the square headlights on the L eventually. Personally, I always preferred the round headlights, so I kind of like prefer this front end, but that was the update for this Sundowner as well, by the looks of it, moving to these square headlights, kind of like to denote a higher spec model. It also looks like on the previous version we got a little bit of extra sort of bright work around the grille as well, but like I say, certainly a very interesting model, and sold here as being for the surfer, I guess. So there we go, the Escort, Falcon and even Transit Sundowner vans. A really interesting range of vans in Australia, kind of like Wish, and I'm sure they would have sold in the UK as well if they put them in the Ford range as well. Probably of course with smaller engines, but nevertheless an interesting range of cars. Can you imagine the Ford Granada Sundowner in the UK? I'm not sure, maybe that one wouldn't have done so well, but certainly the Escort Sundowner I'm sure would have been a popular one with a 1.6 litre engine, or maybe even a 1.3 for the UK market. But there we go. If you remember these Ranger vans, please do jot in the comments. They are certainly very interested. Next week we'll look at more of the commercial end of these vans and even pickups for the Australian market. We'll do a little bit of a wrap up and a conclusion, and maybe pick which is our favourite from the brochure itself. But thank you so much for watching today for your Ford Sundowner vans and your 1979 Ford cars in Australia. Thank you for watching Quartzlight. We'll end as always by saying please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free, helps you and helps me, but basically, like I say, it's all completely free, although you can become a member if you want to. Member is a very low price. At the moment though, I must be honest and say we're not giving much to members. Obviously we will always comment on all your comments if you're a member, but because our member number is so low at the moment, we haven't started doing extra little bit of clip-its and that for members, but we will do when we get a few more members. But just note that if you do become a member, there isn't that much for you at this time, but thank you so much. You do help the channel greatly. We'll end by saying I hope you do enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you very soon. I've added a couple of extra boxes. One is for this brochure and all the episodes you've missed, and one will probably be quite a random sort of video for you to watch. But thank you so much for watching. Please do take care. We'll see you very soon, and goodbye.